Matzah Ball. It's not always easy being Jewish, but sometimes it can lead to miracles. It happened to me last year at an Orioles game at Camden Yards.
Wait. Okay.
Larry's dad had tickets to an early season game, and Larry had invited Dan, Kate, and me to go along. We're on a neighborhood softball team together, and he knew we'd really enjoy watching the O's clobber the Rangers. I was telling my mom how excited I was when her voice shattered my visions of home runs flying way out to Utah Street. Don't forget, Aaron, the game is during Passover. No hot pretzels, no Cracker Jacks, no ice cream. You'll have to bring your own food. Oh, Mom, I groaned. How can you enjoy a baseball game without junk food? The other kids aren't Jewish and they'll be able to eat anything they like. It's not fair. Sorry, Aaron, she answered. Those are the rules. I was really mad. It's not easy being Jewish, and sometimes it feels downright weird. Every year I have to explain why there's a sukkah in my backyard and why I'm always missing great TV shows on Shabbat. My friends think I'm lucky because I get extra days off from school, and they say I have it made because Hanukkah lasts for 8 days. And I'm not so sure. Sometimes I wish I could just be like everyone else. Mom wasn't finished lecturing, of course. She told me how lucky I was to be able to celebrate Passover and reminded me that there were many times and places when Jews had to eat matzah in secret. She also pointed out that the Jewish slaves in Egypt had suffered a lot more than I would suffer by not eating Cracker Jacks for one whole ball game. But I was still unconvinced. After all, they didn't even have baseball when the rabbis wrote down all the rules about Passover food. I'm sure they'd have made an exception. The day of the game was perfect, sunny and cool. Mom packed me a Passover lunch. Matzah, tuna fish in a container, chocolate chip macaroons, and those disgusting sugary fruit slices. When I arrived at Larry's house, he wanted to know what was in my bag. It's my lunch, I grumbled. It's Passover, so I can't eat the usual stuff at the ballpark. Oh, too bad, he said, and suddenly his face brightened. Do you have any of those great tasting Passover cookies? You mean macaroons? Of course, I answered. What else do you think my mom would have packed? I love macaroons, Larry drooled. Okay, Larry, I'll let you have some at the ballpark, I assured him as I followed him to the car. We drove to Camden Yards. Larry's father even had a special parking permit so we could get into one of those lots near the stadium. We joined the flood of people going in. Lines were already forming at the food concessions, and wonderful smells filled the air. We bought our scorecards, found our seats, and settled in for the game. 3 pitches into the first inning, Larry reminded me about the macaroons. Ooh, you have macaroons? Sighed Kay. I love macaroons. She began to rummage through my lunch bag and found the fruit slices. These look good too. Let's share. My lunch was fast disappearing, but I wasn't so hot on macaroons and fruit slices anyway. The game was a baseball triumph and a culinary disaster. The Orioles scored run after run. Ripken was tremendous. Anderson was fabulous. Devereaux was dazzling. And I was starving. It turned out Larry's dad had a thing for matzah, so I gave him some of mine. Thanks to Dan, the tuna fish was gone by the second inning. My friends were happily devouring my lunch as well as every bit of chametz in the ballpark. By the 5th inning, I was so hungry, I began to fantasize about opening a special kosher for Passover food stand at Oriole Park. I prayed that the game wouldn't go into extra innings. In the bottom of the 8th, the Rangers had a pitching change. My friends decided to head out to the concession stands one last time. I stayed behind, feeling sorry for myself. Suddenly, I felt someone tapping on my shoulder and turned to see that an old man had sat down next to me. "Hi," he said. "I noticed your lunch bag. It reminds me of when my mother used to pack a Passover lunch for me when we go to Ebbets Field." "You were at Ebbets Field?" My mouth dropped open. "Sure," he said. "Those were the good old days. Tons of matzah and macaroons all over the place. You weren't distracted with buying junk food and could concentrate on the game. Know what I mean?" Yeah, I guess so," I answered. Suddenly, I saw myself part of Ebbets Field gang. All those Jewish kids eating their Passover lunches, watching Jackie Robinson steal in second. I didn't feel so alone anymore. "I still bring my own lunch," he said. "Here, would you like another piece of matzah?" "Thanks," I said, and turned back to the game. I ignored the sing-song of the peanut vendor and kept my eyes on the field. The new Rangers pitcher wasn't helping the team at all. The O's had guys at the corners, on a walk and a single up the middle, bobbled by the second baseman. Cal was up to bat. A fastball whizzed by for strike one. He fouled the next one off the first baseline. 2 balls followed. The old guy next to me whispered a prayer. "Just 1 home run, Cal. Dayenu. That will be enough." Then I heard the crack of the bat and saw the ball heading in my direction. It was too late to grab my glove. The matzah was all I had. It would have to be enough. I held it up in the air and heard the old man yell, "It's yours, Aaron." The ball shattered the matzah in a million pieces and fell into my lap. I clutched it and turned to thank him, but he had disappeared. Where had he gone? He'd just been there. I had the matzah, or at least the crumbs to prove it. When my friends returned, they nearly fainted when they saw the ball. "Congratulations," Larry's dad said. "Aren't you lucky you weren't standing out in the concession line with us?" Now, if someone tells me there's no such thing as a miracle, I just smile and show them my Matzah Ball. I wonder, though, sometimes when I look at it, whatever happened to my friend from Ebbets Field? And come to think of it, how did he know my name? The end.